Okay, let's take a look at some Nikon D750 tips and tricks. Most of these are also applicable to D7100s, D600, D810, D800, so on and so forth. Let's go into our menu settings and go to in your playback menu and playback display options. Now, focus point is pretty irrelevant. I find it completely useless. Some people actually like to use highlights. I have RGB histogram, shooting data, and basic information highlighted. So you find one, highlight it, click OK after you've made all your selections. So I have RGB, histogram, shooting data, and overview. OK, so when I go to playback, I can actually scroll the information data on each picture, including RGB histogram. Okay, now before taking a look at some of our options in the menu in our A through F menus, let's take a look at role play by the card in slot 2. Now, overflow obviously is card 1 of SD card is full, it's going to overflow to the second card. Backup is simultaneous write to both SD cards. Now, if you're shooting in action, this is going to slow things down. However, if you're on a paid shoot and things are all important and you're obviously not shooting continuous low or continuous high, having your backup option is certainly vital, because you certainly most definitely can have SD card failure. So having a backup is extremely good suggestion. So that's role play by a card number 2, and it's under photo shooting menu. Now let's go to our custom settings menu. Now let's first go to an important one. Now, anytime there's an asterisk over one of your menus, that means it is non-factory default. You see I have it over A2. That's AFS single point priority selection. Now, default on that is for focus release, means it will not release the shutter unless the item or whatever subject it is I'm shooting is in focus. Now, I do not want the camera ever to have control over that. If I want to release the shutter while the subject is fuzzy, that's my choice for a compositional decision. So I have everything always set to release. Now, default for autofocus continuous is release, but I want everything set for release. I do not want my camera ever making any decision for me as far as when it releases the shutter. Now we can go through some of the other ones, but let's go to C4. Now, monitor off display and playback. Now, default is 10 seconds, so when you're actually looking at one of your images, for me, actually, I'll find that I do something, I'll look at a scene, and often is the case that in certain circumstances, not very often, 10 seconds is just not enough. And when I go to C4, monitor off display, instead of 10 seconds, I'll just choose 20 seconds. You're not going to really be eating up your battery, and I rarely need it anyway, so I have it set for 20 seconds. I'm looking at something. Obviously, I can hit my shutter, tap it once, return to my viewfinder. So I'm not really eating up my battery. At 10 seconds, sometimes I find it irritating, so I'll actually change that on a C4 setting. And let's go to take a look at our bracketing flash. Now, a few of you asked me about this. You go to E3 on your flash control for built-in flash. Have TTL. You just have it set for manual for strobes and older speed lights, so you can avoid curtain issues. You'll actually notice the bottom third of your frame will be dark, whereas the top 2/3 will have perfect illumination. If you're shooting with the older speed lights or shooting with studio strobes, you need to be in manual mode. Okay, let's put it back into TTL. Shutter speed 1/60th, and you also need to determine too on your flash sync speed whether most typical studio flash, a lot of them are 1/250th, but there are still a great number of them that are 1/250th of a second. So one of the most important things is actually checking and setting your function buttons. So let's go into menu your function and preview buttons. And we're going to go to Control. And one thing that I want to do is we're going to go to F1. And this is your OK button right here at the center of your rocker dial. Okay? It has various assignable functions, whether you're in movie shooting mode or whether you're shooting photos. Now in shooting mode, obviously that's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to go to playback mode right down here. This is under function F1. And playback mode, default is thumbnails on and off. I don't need that. That's useless, absolutely bloody useless. Something is very useful is go down to zoom off or on, and then you can choose 100% or 200%. 200% is overkill, so choose 100%. So before we actually get into explaining that, let's actually change our function button. Our function button is the bottom button here, and our preview button is right up here. So let's actually change our function button. Now I have the function button. You can set it to many things. I have it set to playback. Reason for that, I mentioned that in prior videos, is that it's actually a pain in the crotch to constantly be doing this number, especially with my other hand. I've got something in my other hand like speed light on an SC29 cable, or I'm grabbing a lens, I'm doing something. I've already got my hand here anyway. Okay, my pinky finger is already situated there. So I'm going to change my function button to playback. So instead of having to do this pathetic number all the time right here, I'm going to change my function button to playback. So that's menu, custom settings menu, F controls, F2 sign function button. I have it set to playback. So this still plays back for viewing my images. However, I also have the function button set for playback. Now let's take a look at our preview button. And what I've actually found the most useful, you can make up your own decision, but I've assigned the preview button to spot metering. Now when I'm shooting and I have a difficult lighting situation, hideous backlighting or oddball situations, I need to expose 2 stops over my highlight where I have a 6 stop or 7 stop range. In a difficult shooting situation where the camera obviously cannot expose properly, what I'll do is I'll spot meter, and what I'll do is I'll actually use my middle finger and I'll be hitting the preview button for spot metering, and then once I've locked in my hit my spot metering, I'll actually hit my exposure lock button up here. So I've spot, exposure lock, then release. So spot, lock, release, spot, lock, release. Very, very, very bloody handy. Now actually let's get back to something else. Normal shooting, and I'm going to go into chimping. I assume most of you know what chimping is. Chimping is obviously after you take a shot, you're going to go ooh, 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 ooh. You're gonna chimp and take a look at your picture, and because a chimp goes ooh ooh ooh. So I assume most of you know what chimping is. Maybe some of you don't know what chimping is. And so you want to stare at your photograph. This is obviously just a test shot. So what I've done is I've actually, since I've assigned my function button for playback, very, very easy. It's right there positioned at my pinky finger. For very, very fast examination, make sure I've got my shot correct. Since I've assigned my OK button to 100% magnification, okay, I've taken a bunch of shots. Click, 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 click. Pinky button, I'm hitting the function button. So I've got my shot. Now all I have to do is hit the center of my rocker dial here. And now I've got 100% magnification, so I can see that everything is in focus. Very bloody handy! Very handy. Yes, okay, click, 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 click. Preview the shot. Center rocker dial, 100%. Now I can take a look at the prior shot. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, there's the shot I did. But is it in focus? Did I get it? Say it's a moving object or something. I'm using a manual focus lens. And to make sure I got everything perfectly. Oh yes, it is. It's perfectly in focus. Great. Now I can move on. Click, 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 click. Preview the shot. 100% magnification. Wow, it's perfectly sharp. 100% magnification. I can move on. Boom, 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 boom. Saves a lot of time, a lot of trouble. So, like I said, most of these, actually all of these are applicable to Nikon D7100, D7200, Nikon D800 series, D750. It's also applicable to Nikon D3 and more than a few other Nikon DSLRs. So just remember that. So I've assigned my function button. So I can bring it up and 100% magnification. I'm going to change my you change your preview button to whatever you want, but I've actually found most useful for me, especially in difficult lighting situations. It's only going to take you 24 hours to get used to it. I'm doing spot, lock, shoot. Okay, spot, lock, shoot, spot, lock, shoot. So I'll have a difficult lighting situation. I'll spot meter where I want to expose, because the camera is an idiot. Okay, your camera has no idea what to expose for, especially when you have like a 7-stop tonal range. It doesn't know what the hell to expose for. Your camera wants to turn everything into gray sludge. Right? Yes. So I'm going to spot, middle finger, preview button here, boom. Okay, spot, lock. Because I have exposure lock, autofocus, and auto exposure lock. Of course, I'm using a manual lens right here. I'm not worried about autofocus lock, but I'm still doing exposure lock. So spot, lock for exposure. I recompose if I need to, because what I'll typically do is I'll spot meter for whatever I want in my scene, okay, and then I'll lock that exposure in, then I'll recompose, then shoot. So spot, lock, shoot, spot, lock, shoot. If you can remember that and you actually try that methodology for a day, and you start to know what it is you need to expose for, because your camera is a stinking idiot, your pictures are going to get better. Hand to God, I promise you, first you'll be frustrated if you've never done this before, but what will happen is you go, oh my God, now I know what it is I'm looking at. So you're going to start spot metering. Okay, you're going to lock that exposure in, recompose. Typically you're going to have to recompose, because wherever it is you're at and what you're metering for are not the same place. So spot, lock, recompose, shoot. Okay, you're going to be frustrated the first third of the day. The second third, you're like, oh my God, my pictures are better. And the third, you're going, oh my God, I should have been doing this the whole time. Right? Yes, you should have. Yes. I hope that helped you out. These are some of the pathetic little tricks. And I don't know if they're really tricks, but they're typically these are things that people don't reset. You know, I've actually found that probably about 90% of someone has a Nikon D7100, D750, they're not even messing with the function or preview. But they're there to be reassigned for a reason. Because if you're right-handed, any of you are left-handed, they're there for a reason. So handy. Boom, 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 boom. They're right there. Okay, I don't have to be sitting back here and thumbing all the other damn buttons on the back of the camera. I want to make it really simple, fast, and easy. Boom, boom, boom. Take a bunch of shots. Okay. Now that I'm especially using a manual focus lens, so I don't know if it's exactly in focus, okay? Preview, 100%. Hey, it's in focus at 100%. I can see it right there. Boom, I can move on. And the other one is spot, lock, and shoot. Well, spot, lock, recompose, and shoot. Typically, you're going to have to recompose. So I hope that helps you, and you should try some of these. At the very least, you can reassign this for playback. And change your monitor off display from 10 seconds to 20 seconds or whatever you want, and know about setting where you need to set your flash sync speed, especially if you're using strobes or some of your older speed lights, because that's incredibly important. And role play by card too, as far as whether you need to, especially if you're doing a paid shoot, you're not doing an action shoot, role play by second SD card slot. Instead of overflow, you do backups. You can do simultaneous write to both cards instead of just overflow. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you get any questions. Thank you for watching. Okay.